Hello everybody and welcome back to game 2 between Team Cookiss and the Puck. We've already seen a very early push strat. I'm hoping we see something different. I'm Llama Down Under. I'm joined by PqMz. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, but I don't think it's gonna be anything different this game from the
Yeah.
looks of it.
I shouldn't have said anything. I've jinxed it all. I
But I
mean,
think much better this game that they went for the Zeus because last game we both, namely you, said about the lack of deep push, and it really came back to bite them. This game they give up on the Witch Doctor, which I really don't think did that much for them last game anyway. Most of the death wards got cancelled. His positioning was pretty bad, to be perfectly blunt, for most of his death wards. It wasn't easy because there's always Venge to swap him, etc., etc. But Zeus, it's much easier this game to stay further back, get an Aether and spam Arc Lightning if they're sitting 5 people at your tower.
yeah, it may have just been a case of underestimating folks. I'm not super sure. It may also have been bad positioning. I feel like Lemon Dog's actually a team that has, Steph style. I don't know who Pablo Gaming. I do know who Pablo Gaming is, but I don't know what teams he's been on before this. But Steph
I don't think he's
style.
been in like big teams. He's a really, really good player. I've played with him like a few times and very, very smart player.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say is I don't know how much team-based experience he's had. So
I was on about the Puck though. Like mostly the Witch Doctor position last game was it left something to be desired, right? But it wasn't easy to hit the death wards, even when there was a chrono, because there was so much to cover him. This game, it's flipped.
10 seconds
Void Witch Doctor on the other side, which much less pushy, but it gives you good fighting potential, which is something you're gonna want when you're against a Zeus. Like it gives you some sustain through both the heroes and a way to jump onto him. Very important.
yeah, so Cookies. I mean, they can still turn this into a push lineup. They can actually go back and do something which has more carry potential because they can use the Chen to make sure they gank their lanes effectively. I think they still have options, and the Puck, they're not shy about getting their wave clear on.
They're just slamming their cards on the table. Not sure I like the Sven this early though.
Yeah, how come?
Because okay, he's good against the Witch Doctor up because of all the armor, and he synergizes well with AA Venge as a very strong tri lane. A lot of pressure out early, but it can definitely work. I just always see Sven as that hero that want to hold until the last possible second, just because OD can kite, and he can blow up Sven in 2 seconds. 2 hits, ult, dead. Suddenly Sven's irrelevant. Okay, they do have Avenge to help him out, and Zeus is also very good against OD, and there's a lot of other factors, but they just picked your offlaner there. And, I don't know, you went with something like Brood, which is not banned, completely messes with lanes, and puts you in a very strong position, still leaves Avenge open as a carry, it just opens up your draft a lot more. I'm not saying what they did is bad, but I'm just, nitpicking.
I think though, from the Puck, they got into a bit of a hard spot. They banned the gyro themselves, and now have to face. They needed to make sure they got one of the few heroes in this game who have ways of dealing with so many creeps. I think Luna's also technically an option, but again, if they pick the Nature's Prophet, that's too many creeps. You're not getting the glaive bounces that you want early on. So I understand why they did that.
Yeah, but you've got the offlaner that can do that as well, and it's just, regardless, it shouldn't be anywhere near as bad this game for them, which is an important thing. But I am going to be slightly worried about them not having last pick again, because they're going to pick the offlaner first, and then Cookies get to deal with like whatever it is. They pick something that's very obvious, like an aggro tri lane. Say they go for Nature's Prophet themselves or something. Or they just go full retard and go Lifestealer, which I'm not so sure how I feel about. Hero's like a walking meme these days.
I mean,
Maybe it is really good though.
have you seen some of the recent Lifestealer games? How up to date are you on your Lifestealer? Because
I've seen like the Tranquil's Ancient Radiance or a Life Stealer,
yeah,
and I've seen it. It just leaves something to be desired every game. This game, it's good in terms of
well,
like they have no damage to kill the Ancients,
5
which is
seconds
really,
remaining.
really good for them, and it gives them a strong laning stage. It could, you can
Reserve time.
one the Void with the Life Stealer if you want to put Sven in an aggressive lane, which I don't think you have to. The only problem with the Life Stealer would maybe be jungle. Gets blocked at all if Chen decides to go in the aggressive jungle and put pressure. There could be some small hiccups for him. But other than that, I think he'll have a fairly good game.
I think now I'm assuming that this is the offlane Lifestealer, but we've also seen a very greedy pick that the folks on Liquid have tried against some teams where they run Kuroki in the jungle on the Lifestealer. They do exactly the same thing as you mentioned. You get an early Vlads, you get into an Ancient creep, people can't kill you because there aren't easy ways to kill Ancients early game generally, and then eventually you get your Radiance up. And it might be something that PqMz feel they can do up against a Chen, since that also does mean that there will be, one less hero in lane for a good amount of time on Cookies' side.
I don't think there's any way the Lifestealer goes for the 4 position, but he could definitely just start in the woods and maybe abandon the off lane for a few levels, depending on what this hero is. I think he could actually just go top. Jog is not ideal at zoning a Lifestealer because obviously rage counter spin, you can always see out if needed.
I do wonder, there still isn't really a good way on Cookies to deal with an Ancient creep, right? If this does come to fruition, it's something where the Lifestealer can be quite a pain to the farm of the Juggernaut or just harassing those supports since they can't do anything against the Ancient. Of course, it'll take a while for Lifestealer to get that. It's all going to depend on his laning, but it might be a viable strategy here.
As soon as he gets level 6, which I'd imagine, say worst, like 8 to 9 minutes, right? No one's going to be able to kill the Ancient. I think 5 of them hitting it for 20 seconds is still going to take some eating on top of that.
But yeah, unless you get the Frenzy creep or the Ancient Black Dragon, you don't harass that much either, is the other issue I feel. It's a trade-off, right? How much can you get done in the Ancient to the cause? Who knows, but...
But if you just run at this OD, he's going to have a few minutes of Jesus, what the hell do I have to deal with? Where am I going to farm this game? Jog probably doesn't care so much because it's a very hard hero to zone out with just 1 or 2. He'll probably get what he needs this game. And when he does get an SMY or
30 seconds
whatever he chooses to go for, he can kill an Ancient creep as the game progresses, but more OD can't kill an Ancient creep. Void's probably never going to be able to kill one. The supports definitely can't. But I can see him having a really good game.
I was wondering why they were writing 66 on the screen.
It was GG.
Yeah, it was
please.
GG. I was just sitting there for a second though, what?
I think they're sad that they're getting memed by a Lifestealer.
The battle begins.
I'm not even sure I can rate this pick, honestly.
I mean, you make fun of it, but I do think it's actually... We'll see. It can be
Becoming
quite
viable.
playable.
That's why I'm not sure what to say about it.
Yeah, no, I mean...
This is a thing.
It's a viable offlaner. We'll see how well it does in this matchup, but I don't think it's as memey or as cheesy as a lot of people are making it out to be. I think it's
it's definitely cheesy, but it's viable and cheesy are 2 completely acceptable things to be at the same time.
And I think he can get work done offlane, which is all you need to ask of an offlaner, especially if somebody makes a misstep around a Lifestealer. You can get a lot done. Dire's Courier is dead to the Venge, and Pablo is looking to kill the Radiant Courier as well, so perhaps we'll see a game of animal brutality.
And the Zeus is actually taking forever to ferry his bottle out, so very unfortunate for Pablo that it could have just been a complete chicken trade. Both supports did the exact same thing. They both went for the boots build, and he's actually just going away as soon as it comes out, which is a shame.
Pablo gonna miss out on killing that donkey. Speaking of, shame on
Like
these teams
Kez is
for
gonna
no
have
cosmetics.
an off lane as well.
He has his
Getting a
level
lot of
2.
experience. Yeah, considering the lane he's against, his Avenge wasn't there, and where the position of the wave is right now, they're gonna be able to get a pull off. But this is like 2.5 for him and some CS. Against this lane is very, very good.
Both of the offlaners actually easily hitting level 2. For the lifesteal a little easier because we knew that there wouldn't be someone up there because of the Chen, but he's level 3 already.
Yeah, he'll have a good time here.
Honestly, one misstep by Pablo, and even if the lifestealer trades his life, he could take out that support with the open wounds and the rage.
Depends if Joke has healing ward and such, but I think he's very content with just trying to get as much farm as possible. He only has 5 CS, but he could definitely amp that up a bit. If he gets a bit more aggressive. If he just carries the TP on him, they can never kill him. That means he can go for all the CS in the world that he wants.
Now, we haven't talked about this mid matchup, but obviously OD is a mid dominator. Zeus has that that off lightning. Will that be enough here?
I'd say it's a fairly even lane, but OD is doubling off the Zeus right now, so... Yes, I'm being proven wrong here. I mean, OD's obviously going to have an easier time last hitting most of the creeps, but Zeus is guaranteed like at least 2 or 3 every wave, as long as he has the mana for it, and if he's crowing, which he hasn't needed to so far. I think he got the 2-minute rune, which might have just been yeah, he got a bounty rune. He hasn't crowed yet, so probably feels pretty comfortable. And he also forces the OD to buy bottle. Isn't something that everyone goes for an OD. You see some people completely skip it, but he needs it against the harass.
Yeah, Eskil is getting really low here. You mentioned the harass, but I think Zeus actually has a little kill potential on the OD.
As long as he has a wand up, it's very, very hard to kill him, but one hero comes in, like Vanish smokes into a stun, he doesn't get the astral off in time. There's definite potential there, as long as Zeus actually has mana.
Yeah.
He hasn't been spamming out creeps.
Now,
If the lane ever gets in like this position, then this is what can happen. Like, walk up the ramp, doesn't want to trade with you, he gets zoned out from arcing. He just get like the 2-minute rune just before the 4-minute rune as well. Very good for him. He's gonna be able to stay in the lane and not have to use the chicken.
so far, we've had no aggression really in either of these lanes. You talked about, as I say that, spoken too soon, the Stormhammer's gonna come out, and Kezu looking like our first blood, unable to get that time walk off. And I really did speak too soon. That's what I was expecting to happen in that lane.
Yeah, with how the lane was positioned, it was really hard for them to do that without it being too obvious. But one misstep, very dead void, which is the problem with this lane.
Now, he can...
Also, actually...
He can head back down there. He actually hasn't picked up the Iron Talon that we see a lot of offlaners go these days.
He just got it. I think he was waiting for the gold
Oh.
fountain.
Yep, I did.
Yeah, the wave's like pushing away from him, so he can always go and do exactly what the Lifestealer's doing.
And Style is just hanging out, gonna run right into Kiro. They are getting ready to push that tower. Lifestealer not able to do a whole hell of a lot against it, so he'll just keep farming. And looking again like Cookiss getting themselves some early tower action.
I'm kind of surprised Avenge would opt to rotate up here instead of, I don't know, trying to gank mid, but if pull the wave off the tower, then it's something, maybe have some experience. Yeah, this is very nice, easy tier 1 tower.
Radiant's top tower.
It's
Pretty much same as first game.
It's never good to lose a tier 1, but is there something to be said here for the fact that now Lifestealer will have a little bit of space to farm, since you're unlikely to commit to the tier 2 as well?
They did the same thing the first game, where, you know, naturally I would agree with you, but they're doing like these pulls every time they push this lane, which is very, very important, because as you say, if you don't do this, Lifestealer suddenly gets to static the lane here at his tower, you can't kill him. Then he's basically getting safe lane farm as an offlaner, which is horrible news for you. Suddenly, 3-4 minutes down the line, that tower has actively hurt you. But now they're pulling the lane back, Jug's gonna have a slight acceleration on his farm, but it's not gonna dip off at all. It's gonna stay at a pace. Very important.
And Steph Style, he wants to be a real bother to the Lifestealer, but I don't think he has an opportunity to kill. And Lifestealer only level 5, so maybe they can do it before he hits that 6 and has the Infest escape. They're gonna start going on him. He uses that rage immediately just to run on by. And there's no stuns, so he's out.
A fairly optimistic attempt. Unless they get a stun here, they do.
Okay, Pablo Gaming looking like he's in a lot of trouble. Zeus holds the ultimate knowing it won't kill. And now, the Venge? Oh, actually just everything gonna disengage. And speaking of disengages, Kezu, there's a Stormbolt with his name on it, but he's able to walk away.
It's fairly easy to disjoint as well when it's from that far away. Hard for him to get caught out here, unless it's like from the fog or there's a Venge coming in at an angle he didn't expect. He's like nearing his level 6 after this wave, which is decent timing considering.
Dire's bottom tower is
Once
under
that
attack.
hits, they have OD who's naturally very strong at this time. Chen's just hits level 5. They could probably just do the same thing they did last game. You'll have to worry about Zeus though. If they stay in the fights too long and Zeus just TPs in with 1 or 2 bolts and a few arcs, go very sour very quickly.
Yeah. This is an incredibly passive game. There don't seem, I mean, part of it is the gank attempts not latching, but there also just don't seem to be terribly many gank attempts. Void isn't level 6 yet. He has already used the time dilation, blown up, unable to time walk away. But Sven, he's overextended. He's going down. There's no escape. They actually commit the Jug ult, although they get the tower deny using S-skill. A good trade
I'd
for
say it's a pretty
Cookiss.
big win. Yeah, the Void will get his level 6 and he's just a walking chrono for the first 20 odd minutes of the game until he managed to get like Blinker Lads. So I think he's happy giving any advantage to his team he can. And the tower deny is, you know, small incremental advantages as the game carries on.
The way the Faceless Void is played has really changed and kind of cracks me up. As you said, he is just a walking chronosphere for the first 15 or so minutes of the game. Like, even longer, arguably, because he gets Vlad's into Blink. He's still just a walking chronosphere. He just also buffs up his team a little bit. Like, so gone are the days of of Faceless actually doing damage in the chronosphere. It's everybody else, and I just think it's a really interesting change.
Yeah, I really like how it's done though, because now he feels more like a proper offlaner as opposed to this kind of clunky offlaner who needs to get a lot of farm and well in his lane. Now he's more just like a clockwork. It's annoying, and unfortunately he looks very dead right now.
Yeah, he's gonna take a Stormhammer. He does have another Time Walk, but it's not coming up in time. And again, the Chilling Touch proving too much for Kezu. I think he's all of his team's deaths. Albeit this game, very low when it comes to kill score in general, but you never want to be all of your team's deaths.
He'll make up for it later, I'm sure. What he won't make up for is giving this AA a 12-minute Midas.
Hero is going in. The Astral Imprisonment does come out. I'm not sure they'll be able to find something in return. And it looks like they're... Oh, Chen actually on the sidelines. Yeah, body blocking up. The Zeus also has slowed him down. And now Zeus... They need some catch. Double Hadoken's gonna work out. They have phase boots on the Juggernaut, of course. So they're gonna run after him. He's slowed up again. The auto attack should do this. A spin to dodge the magic missile.
Radiant's middle tower.
Now
And
Ben also in trouble.
Yeah, chrono up. And they actually do Omni Slash, which... Yeah, it's acceptable. They should be able to like get a lot of damage on the tier 2 here. Or they just go mid, hell, maybe even do both.
Yeah, and it's at the point of the game
Maybe.
where the Omni Slash is, you know, in 2 minutes he'll be level 11 on the Juggernaut. May as well use it or lose it.
Right, never mind. They're not getting mid because of the dragon.
Oh, and the catapult's even stolen.
I think if this is like any other creep, they might still be able to get more damage, but the ignite is, or fireball even, is so hard to push into.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think I call it ignite when it's... No, it's fireball, yeah. I swear it was Ignite. Now it's Fireball. I'm probably wrong.
Ignite might have been the passive, and then when it got changed.
Yeah, it's not great. Damn you,
So
dragons!
does hard game to keep up with.
Yeah, I get that they changed the names to make it make more sense because you don't want, you know, people being like, oh, Ignite now does this, but yeah, come on.
So that's not logical, please.
Magic lightning bolts.
Yep.
Now, taking a look around, the game is still very close when it comes to net worth. They've only gotten one tier 1 down for Cookiss, and of course, the Puck also got that bottom tier 1 experience, a little bit in favor of Cookiss, but none of this is big. Like, this is all really small swings.
And I think this pretty much favors the Dire, just based on the fact that if the Radiant ever managed to get a lead, they're basically relying on Sven getting a blink to force any kind of fights. Which, if he does get a blink, okay, great, they have a form of initiation, but it's not the best form of initiation. You can astral the guy he goes on. If you end up clumping, Void can counter-initiate, blah blah blah. It's like a load of reasons that it's not easy for them to start a fight. Bench swap is probably the best way, but that's like pitiful range at level 1. On the flip side, when you've got a Void that can initiate a fight, hell, to some extent OD can as well. They're actually chronoing the Ancient. They're gonna kill the Lifestealer here.
Yep, and it's a really important kill. He was actually rushing the Radiance, I think, instead of picking up the Vlads, since he was already surpassed the gold for that.
You want to get Tranquil, so because it gives movement speed to the Ancient. That's a bit greedy. Regardless, he doesn't die, it's perfectly acceptable, you know. Early Radiance helps so much.
It's just a lot of, as you said, early Radiance helped a lot, and he was able to get up a lot of farm. He was looking to be on point for his sub 20-minute Radiance, so.
And this is why I say the both like kind of clunky, because he's such a good fighting hero. If he just spent this 2k gold on Fred's drum, he could probably just walk in and fight. But he's going for like the build that's been popularized, and it's a bit more clunky.
Now, speaking of interesting builds, A already has the Midas up, that's doing well, and Sven going that Sanj and Yasha after the Helm of the Dominator. I think it makes sense that BKB here is not the most useful against Cookiss' lineup.
S1Y is pretty standard, and it lets him scale into the game, which he's going to need to do.
Odie also has his Midas up.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Went back for it. I think the Void's getting a Midas as well. He has money right now.
So Cookiss not wanting this one to go like the last, where they were severely underfarmed and unable to do too much.
And they have much better heroes to scale this game, and as it's pretty apparent, the Shen is much less relevant this game in terms of pushing. Getting the mech up in a few hundred gold though, so that might prompt a push.
They really seem to be going for a later lineup. They've also got the Battle Fury on the Jug. I don't doubt their ability to go late versus a Sven. It's just a very big departure from their first game style.
I think it's good that they adjusted though, because they'd have picked the same kind of lineup into Loose AA. It feels risky to run it twice in a row when the guys drafted against it first game, it didn't quite work out. Second game, they just played against you, and they've got us even better opening to the draft.
Yeah. The Ice Bolt's gonna hit. Flynn's taking a lot of damage. If the Zeus ult comes out, this might be able to get a double kill. Yeah, okay, there he goes. Gets the double kill. And that'll be that.
And that's what they kind of want to try and avoid. Because when you're taking the fights to a lineup that has no real way of engaging onto you when you're just farming, and actually like giving them a way to do something when they otherwise couldn't. You know, when you control the tempo of the game through how your Void moves, when he decides to stop farming with his Midas and buy a Blink Dagger or just go roaming with a smoke with his OD, like that's what you want control of.
The Witch Doctor also goes down in the top lane, very far out there, and now Lifesteal is going to just TP out away from Eskil. Cookiss, again, these differences are negligible, but it's never great to, you know, have the tower advantage and be behind in net worth. It means something has gone a little bit wrong.
Yep, as soon as you give up like 1 or 2 fights after you've taken the advantage, it plummets pretty quick. Not as quick as it used to, at least. That was a bit ridiculous.
Now, Sven gets a burst of farm, clearing that ancient stack. Yes, they watered it up, but he still managed to get it done. And he is farming a little bit faster than the Jug. It's nothing too much to write home about, but I would say, obviously, with that God Strength, he can do a lot more damage right now.
Yeah, he's just a lot more kiteable. The forms of getting people out on the Radiant is pretty much just swap and walking away. I suppose Rage as well to get himself out. But when you've got Astral to imprison the target that you're going on, or imprison Ben himself, Jug can obviously kite you through faster move speed, and he can Omni Slash away, blah blah blah. Harder to connect on the heroes you actually want to connect on. I would still favor the Jug, but don't get me wrong, if the Sven does connect and he hits once or twice, they're gonna be pole.
Yeah. That's what I would be worried about. Even with all the kiting, I think the Sven, early game, he kills you so easily, and especially since it does not look like he has any chance of slowing down his farm, that's going to progress into the mid game. Now, Lifesteal are also getting very close to the Radiance, so even if they can kite the Sven stun, there will be constantly a Radiance picking at them. As well as, you know, how do you hit the Sven with the mischance? Nobody on Cookiss, I think, super wants to build an MKB.
Jug's fine with building it as the game goes on.
Oh,
but
down bottom, nice Chronosphere into Death Ward. And they're gonna get themselves an AA. Okay, but the Zeus ult has come out already. The Sven is super deep. The coconuts, they will not bounce to anything. Will this be enough to set it up? He's just gonna turn around Stormhammer. He does, sorry, God's Strength. He has a Stormhammer at the ready. They have to take his mana. Do they have anything to stop him? No, they don't.
that was very nice heads up TP.
That's been happening a lot this game, I'm not gonna lie. They're, I
That's
mean...
the shitty part of Chen. When you get these creeps, nothing you can do about it.
And when we look at Cookies' lineup as a whole, Faceless Void has Chronosphere or Time Lock, there's Astral Imprisonment, there's the Paralyzing Cask. That's it for stopping TPs. As you said, Chen's creeps, it's RNG.
Astral's like ideal for it though, because you're normally not dropping it until you like want some kind of defensive mechanism, or you just use it to stop their TP.
But Astral also has a really long CD, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure you're
that's true.
stopping too many TPs with that one.
Yeah, you only stop one, right? Especially with how this game's going, it's not very confrontal. Teams are gonna want to play like very passive, and when Void feels like he can go for a kill with either the Witch Doctor or the OD, they're probably just gonna try and go for any pickoff they can, keep the game as even as possible on their end, not take any big engagements, because Zeus AA just does too much damage at this stage. Also, the lifesteal is just too annoying.
Yeah, Lifestealer, again, he is only the recipe away from the Radiance. That's going to become more and more annoying. Cookies are trying to build up, you know, some sort of farm to deal with this. Do you think it'll get there in time? Also, what is the plan for the Puck? Like, how do they force the fights?
I think they just run at buildings, but that's not the easiest thing to do.
Nope, there's going to be a stun onto Pablo Gaming. The follow-up is on its way, but with the A-Blast already used, not looking like they have enough damage with just the bench.
Alright, so they got the blink on the Sven, which I was saying earlier, it's not the ideal way of initiating, but it is pretty much their only option other than Zeus maybe buying a blink Hex, which is way too much money to be asked to be even contemplated at this stage of the game. 40 minutes, it would be a way to initiate, but that's way too far away. I like that he picked it up, it's just they need to get a lot of use out of it, otherwise a plethora of other items would have been like much more efficient for him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still good in fighting, I suppose, but it's not ideal.
it also feels a bit like this Ghost Scepter is just for the Omni Slash and the Death Ward. I guess it can also mitigate some Chen creep damage, but okay, they're not going to use their free glyph. We're actually going to have a Storm Hammer coming out. He tanks that ult. So tanky is the Sven with that Warcry. So much armor, and they continue to chase, but they got the tower. Well, it was a tower exchange with no deaths except the Venge.
But they want to go tier 2 though, they're pinging it out. There's still God Strength on Sven, but he is fairly low.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they're going to contest though. No Omni, so it's hard to fight. I don't think they'll be able to get the tier 2 bottom themselves.
No,
Leads to the Radiant getting a better trade.
Sven being buffed up by that frenzy on that creep, that ancient, so powerful in the pushes, and as you said, that's kind of how you force them to fight. They lost a tower because they chose not to fight on Cookiss.
Yeah, but that only works up until the base. As soon as they start going for base, it doesn't work on forcing the engagements anywhere near as easily. But they'll take that, honestly. If they can get these remaining tier 2s and just get control of the map while still having the towers themselves, win on their end. Then they can just get Roshan on the Sven and suddenly feels comfortable jumping into 2 or 3 heroes. He has Aegis, and Venge can always swap him out on the respawn, so he's quite happy to maybe blow his God Strength and all his cooldowns straight away, get whatever they can.
They're not making it in time to contest this. They've realized it with the creep, which is poking away at Sven, I believe. Oh, and the creep gets Midas. That's going to be Roshan. The AA has the Aghanims already. A 23-minute Aghanims. Venge going in for more. There's the blink away from OD. But still, now Sven is just blowing up one of their teammates. The Zeus ult comes out. OD can poke away at Sven, but of course he does have that Aegis. And Cookiss just unable to take these fights. A Chronosphere is upcoming. Can he get in range? He has it at the ready, but he'd have to also grab some of his teammates. He wants to get something done. He time dilates over there. He can also get the Chronosphere onto 2. Does manage to, but Zeus is going to maybe pick him off there. Instead, it's going to be Pablo falling on the sidelines to the Sven, who is still not dead.
Apparently Sven doesn't need his ult to like just melt these heroes anyway. SMY Blink is good enough.
I mean, he's frenzied up, he hits so hard, they can't hit him back because of the Radiant spawn, and they're going for it on the puck, ready to push high ground.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, well, when you blow your chrono like that and your weak strike is pretty much your main source of follow, your OD was definitely not in position. It just leads to this being possible.
Yeah, they
Ult
don't.
comes up, tier 3's gonna go down.
They just don't
Don't
have
think
a.
they'll be able to get Rexa.
Well, the frenzy is gonna come out again onto the Sven, who is God Strength up. They don't have any big ults here, although they're coming off of cooldown. They actually do manage to kill off that creep. A blast gonna hit on 1. He can't get rid of that as easily, and now the swap in. We're gonna see OD in a lot of trouble. Sven actually jumps in. A nice Sanity's Eclipse, but no, they're all dying on the line of Cookies. OD comes back in. The Omni Slash, it hits on too many different heroes. The Death Ward will fly out. Zeus actually unable to kill off Pablo, and now they're gonna maybe take out the Sven. Of course, that is just Aegis. An A blast up in 12, but they expended 3 buybacks, I think, on Cookiss, maybe only 2. If they don't also get the Sven here, it's going to be all for naught, and they really need to make this money back on OD. They do get the Sven.
Yeah, OD bought out, Shen bought out like much earlier, so I think it was just 1. And they have his, no, never mind, Zeus is dead, so the Witch Doctor should be fine here.
Yeah, they now have 2
He has his
buybacks
axe
on
as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe his Glimmer
they're...
as well.
They're
Oh, I think he's dead now. He completed his axe and exchanged his HP.
Oh.
He might have
That's
already had
awkward.
the HP components on him and I'm being retarded. I didn't completely check his inventory, but I thought he was fine.
I too did not check, and you're right. If that's what happened, that's unfortunate.
It is level 2 ult, it might just be enough to kill him actually. He is
With
fairly
an axe.
squishy.
Right, he is. It does feel like the lineup of the Puck had been farming this map much more effectively. Obviously, they just got a bunch of gold from getting the tier 2 and the tier 3 in mid. Do you think Cookies are still in an okay position with that much pressure being applied to their mid lane?
I think they're okay if they can manage to hold, but it's going to take them a while to come online. Right now, with the AA being as potent as he is in fights, the Lifestealer having all the auras that the Sven will want, him being close to an item, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes BKB, but I don't think it's the best choice. He could just go for something else. Much more stat-based. I think he'd be fine. I mean, I hate to say it, but Scuddy wouldn't be the worst choice in the world.
Why do you hate
That's
to say
good on the hero.
Scotty's not a bad item.
It's really good against OD. That's the main reason I say it. Like, okay, it's nice to lock people down in fights, but you'd rather get a basher if you want to lock people down and hit them. The stats against OD, if you're not buying BKB, is very, very important. Without an Aegis, he's definitely at risk when the fight goes on. Like just getting one shot by OD ult.
Now, taking a look around, the AA is filthily rich, which we've already discussed. Richer than the offlane Lifestealer, has the Aghanim's and the Force Staff. Zeus also does manage to get the blink up.
Being really, really nice scheme.
Are they just going for another push?
It looks like it.
And Juggernaut just used that Manta, I guess hoping to de-push some, but now means he doesn't have it for the fight if he needs to dodge certain things. He may have to spin, initiate. They pop the glyph there. Chen throwing out a little bit of harassment. They've gotten the creeps off the tower. But, oh, the Puck. There is a nice Ice Blast coming out. It's going to hit all of them, even though he spun. Chronosphere does manage to come out, and now they've got a lot of damage pounding into the Sven, but immediately the swap comes out. They will get at least one here. A nice usage of that Ghost Scepter. Steph Style will fall. Can the Omni Slash just hit the Sven at all? They get both. And Cookies, they've held. Oh gosh, the Lifestealer comes out though. They still have to deal with this. PqMz trying to walk away and now turning around to fight the Lifestealer. They've taken it.
That Axe Witch Doctor doing so much damage. Right, let's have a look at this, right? He did, oh, only 1,000? No, 2.3k damage. That was more than double on anyone.
I too looked at the
on his team.
experience.
Yeah, I was kind of like, there's no way that's right. But he doubles for damage on anyone on his team, and because it wasn't stopped, suddenly Sven's BKB is irrelevant. Like,
Yeah.
Deathwood gives no shits about your magic resistance.
It's actually a really rough game. I mean, you feel like you have to go the BKB on a Sven against an OD. There's so many other things you have to worry about, especially if this OD ended up getting an Atos. But at the same time, Chen has some has a lot of creeps that'll be hitting you. I guess your Llama, you can argue, mitigates that. But BKB doesn't save you from the Chronosphere. BKB doesn't save you from the Omni Slash or the Death Ward. So
That's
Sven...
what he's got the Venge for, but unfortunately, Venge swapped him out, he BKB'd, he kept getting hit by Deathwood going, what the hell's happening, I'm not quite sure what's going on, and he still died, and the push went horribly wrong. I understand they wanted to go with his fresh BKB, and now that fight's gone horribly wrong for them, and he wasted 4k gold on this item, and I say wasted because they obviously wanted to go for the push, and that's why he went for the BKB. He could have just gone for a crit or a basher, and been in much better shape, like, the next, I don't know, 20 minutes of the game. If he stays 10 seconds on the BKB, or 9 seconds on the BKB though and doesn't fight, it's not the worst thing, it just delays you to where you would like to be.
But now getting Chronosphere up again in the bottom lane. Pablo, though, walks into the Chronosphere, doesn't get off the Death Ward. I'm not sure they'll have the damage. Here comes the BKB. He gets the bolt out, and oh no, that has not gone the way Cookiss wanted. They are not going to kill the Sven. Pablo, another Storm Hammer with his name on it in a few seconds there. He tries to throw out the Maledict, instead getting smacked around. Does get some coconuts to be bouncing, so should secure Kezu's escape. But Pablo walking into the Chronosphere there.
Yep, that was not his shining moment, unfortunately. And even after that, like, he dropped the Death Ward after, was like instantly stunned by Sven.
Can we discuss a little bit Kezu's item build? This is not what I'm used to seeing on Void this patch.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I've seen it loads of times before, but I'm not sure
Oh.
it's best.
Well, as we say, it's not best. Look at all the slow coming out onto this Venge.
I mean, it definitely does damage. That's the
Dire's
upside,
bottom
and it
tower has
offers a
fallen.
lot of utility with the charges. I guess they just want the late game, and they realize Zeus is going to, hopefully, in their eyes, not be a giant factor as the game goes on. Lifestealer becomes less and less relevant as the game goes on, and Sven becomes more and more kiteable as his BKB hits 5 seconds. Things like Force Staffs and Sheep come out. I've actually even got Diffusal on the jug, so if he doesn't have BKB, he isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, this is Refusal City. I'm not super
Ghost Scepters
sure.
as well, though.
Pardon?
Ghost Scepter on the Zeus is another good reason for it.
Sure, but there's not a lot of other things. Like 16
That's
Diffusal
fine, though.
charges for the Zeus?
It's good on Jug on his own, and with the Manta first on Kezu, it's a very efficient item to pick up. It gives you a lot of damage for 3,000 something-ish gold, as opposed to, you know, picking up.
Yeah. The Vlads or whatever.
There's nothing close at 3k. Maybe Necro 1 comes like slightly close without Manta, but with Manta, it's nothing comes close to the damage you get from Diffusal.
Necro 1,
The utility
really?
is just. Well, Necro 1's like similar price on Void. It's not the worst item,
Okay.
but you know, with Manta, Diffusal's just 2 times better.
Anyway, they're gonna see this Roche attempt coming out, so Cookiss could go to contest, and now with the amount of farm on Cookiss, I think it's really scary for the PqMz. They do need probably 2 people in the pit to take that Roshan, but they smoke back up. The catapults, they've killed it off. Oh no, in the bottom lane we're gonna see Chronosphere on to the Zeus. He's falling here to those Diffusal illusions.
Yep, death by 1,000 cuts.
But while that happens, they're getting the Roshan pretty easily on the lineup of the PqMz. They know Chronosphere is down. Folks are posturing around the pit, but it doesn't look like OD will be able to do anything.
If they had like slightly better vision, they might even.
Oh,
Yeah, they had so
my goodness. Yes, they're going in. OD has Astral imprisoned it up to Sven. Kezu is working on that Venge, taking little bits of damage from the Lifestealer, but they've just decided it is time to sacrifice the Venge, and down she goes.
I mean, that's. The Roche was not easy for them to get, so sacking the Zeus for it in exchange for the Chrono, I think isn't. It's not what they wanted, but getting Roche, I think they'll be quite happy with it. But obviously, Venge dying there is just collateral. Unfortunately, she has like Sven's Hyperstone. I don't think it's gonna matter though, because she's up fairly soon.
She has
Unless you
Sven's
wanted to have the hype.
Hyperstone.
Yeah, the item he dropped for Aegis.
Radiant's middle tower has been denied.
Now I think it's just going to be about them finding a way to use this Aegis. Because while their lanes are like this, they can't do anything about it. And as soon as this is up, the lanes will change. You know, Venge is coming up as well, so now's probably the time when they want to get the lanes to like the river, and then they just go down mid, try for the racks.
Things are starting to trend a little bit in favor of Cookiss, despite losing out on that Aegis. I still think it's a very even game, though, between these two teams.
As the game goes longer and longer, though, it sways more and more towards Cookiss, just based on the fact their supports. But okay, when I say support, I mean Watchdoctor is going to be really, really hard to deal with in these fights as soon as he gets his baby, which he can nearly get.
Yeah, this
Might even opt
Watchdoctor
to
is
like
rich.
sell his stick.
We haven't
Yeah,
discussed it too much, but Pablo Gaming, despite having no Midas or anything, sure the AA is like double his net worth, but considering what Pablo Gaming has been doing for the rest of the game, you know, buying mods and so on, he is filthily rich. The TP out will be accomplished by Juggernaut. Another on point 1, because the swap was used. This game is, I wouldn't say super light on stuns, but there's a lot of opportunities to TP out.
Yep. I don't think there's going to be too many options to TP out though if they actually get on a 5-on-5 fight. Shit is going to hit the fan and people are going to die.
But both
The
teams have been
Saudis-
avoiding that so far.
But it's going to come head to head now because Puck want to get into a position where the lanes feel pushed enough and they can just get an engagement and go. Because their game's teetering off the longer this goes. They still have a chance as it goes on, but especially with the items the Void is gone, he scales a lot better than a normal Void would. OD is like late game king against some of these heroes. And Jug is, you know, no slouch by any means. Probably matches Sven fairly comfortably.
Faceless Void
Like
has
full 6
also
slot.
picked up the Aghanim Scepter. So suddenly these Chronospheres coming closer and closer together. The God Strength is okay. Yeah, that would do it. They're losing a Rax though, lag or no.
At the range Rex, not a problem. The big problem is going to be if this AA gets like multiple important heroes in the ult and Sven just happens to blink, blink, hit, stun, they're dead. Like if that happens, they have to buy back and then they lose Rax. That's like their way to lose this game right now. If they just play this safe, I think they can even give up the Rax if it comes down to it. You don't just want to let it drop while you're sitting there staring them in the face. If you commit to like a really bad fight, then you still somehow manage to either die again or lose Rax. Or Sven has his God Strength up, it's the last situation you want to be in. This is like make or break, I think, for Radiant. If it goes well, game's good. If it doesn't, then I think they're just going to get outscaled. One thing to note though is the Void has like no easy way of getting in. It is only time walk. Those Chronos aren't going to be the best.
Well, here we go. We've got the fight breaking out. They've lost the range track. Eskill now taking a lot of damage there. Gets the Astral Imprisonment off though in at the last second. And Sven, his BKB, they do manage to kill off Eskill. We have an Omni Slash just for picking off the Zeus. They do finally manage to get him, but on the front line, they are having their team tore apart by that Sven. They will kill the Venge. The Chronosphere comes out. Where is the damage? Eskill, he buys back. He is pounding away on the Sven. That will just be Aegis. Juggernaut trying to deal with the AA, but he is in a lot of trouble here. They see him, and now Sven blinking backwards. They have to do something about this Sven. Eskill giving it a go, but it's gonna be a 3 for 2.
I think this Jug just learnt to respect this AA a lot more. I think this is the fattest AA I've ever seen.
He is now
In the
beating the OD
history of
in
Dota.
form. He is now beating the OD in form. It's a little...
Yeah, like he's neck and neck with a Void who went for items that are a lot better at farming. Okay, Vlad's is fairly good farming item, but more for sustain than farming speed.
And the Sven just rips right through Juggernaut's illusions.
Yeah, and there's also Hex on this AA now, so that is a form of initiation I didn't see coming. 4-staff Hex off your 4th position support at 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Who also has an Ags and bots.
Don't need it on the Zeus when you got an AA that's richer than your Zeus. Like, yeah. This is core AA. And you mentioned support scaling. AA, oh, well played there, picking up the Lifestealer. AA, I think, is one of the supports that scales the best as the game progresses because of how Ice Blast works.
I think he's fairly close to Witch Doctor in terms of just raw ability and damage in fights, but the item disparity is what's going to be the difference this game. His Hex could just get them picks they otherwise wouldn't be able to get.
Venge is meanwhile
very,
dying.
very far away.
Venge is dying to Juggernaut illusions, and speaking of Juggernaut killing things, he is going to go down.
At least I think.
That's like, again, a kill they wouldn't be able to get without the Hex. And they might even find the Void, but he should not die here. Unless he time walks that way and the Sven chases him.
Okay, he's gonna lock their cooldowns, but doesn't matter, they have the Stormbolt and autos.
Needed to hold his Manta, but unfortunately did not get the dodge, and that means should be a Q to force buyback. Bottom lane's pushing in, so as soon as it hits like just below the ramp, they can just swing and go mid, hit the racks. Sven doesn't have his ult, but I think they'll be quite happy just forcing buybacks and getting out.
Yes, both the Faceless and the Jug do have buybacks, and as you said, it's buyback or lose a Rax most likely. They're going to try to give it a go alone. The ult comes out, but immediately hexed up. That's how they're going to stop Pablo Gaming. AA Blast off the mark. Faceless Void has bought back, has the Chronosphere. They're going to pick off Sven here, but that's a buyback for a Sven. OD wants more out of this. Can they find it? AA comes back for some reason, and this is going to be a big kill. This AA is worth a lot, walking right back into them.
Third on net worth. I just can't get over this, actually. This is insanity to me. He hits for like 100 a hit before his hex, and he's farming this fast. It's insane. I gotta give this guy some props.
I mean, he got a 13-minute Midas, I think. That's what
Around
happens.
there, yeah.
If you allow an AA to get a 13-minute Midas, he can get so much. He has he's 5, 2, and 6. It's so easy to get kills on an AA with a Zeus as well. Like,
Yeah,
you,
but
the Zeus is getting
like,
every kill.
normally after you get your Ags, the farm falls off a lot because your next few items, like Force Staff, is a very strong item. Never underrate it, but importance of getting that item is generally a lot less than, say, your offlaner getting a certain item. But the Lifestealers kind of got boned this game because the Sven went for an AC himself, so his item progression is like, well, where do I go? And he decides to stay with this aura build and go for a Shivas, which I really think doesn't do much. Like, the armor is good for him, but I would much rather just see him go back for an SMY and stop sitting in Ancient Creeps for all the fight, and, you know, use his right clicks or something, because
He actually does a
his build
crap
is
ton of
falling
damage.
off a lot.
He does
Yeah.
almost 200 a hit, so coming out of the creep and being involved in the fight doesn't seem like a bad play.
No, like, this build is mostly based around your auras, and the Ancient Creeps are great vessels to get you into the fights and annoy people, but 40 minutes into the game, how annoying is it? Mostly like the farming factor. But he hasn't been farming, he's just been running around because his AA's been probably telling him to let me farm this lane, and on top of that, the Zeus' farm is probably suffering because the AA is telling him to, you know, let me farm this lane and you farm somewhere else.
Yeah, we're not, I mean, it's, what's the right way to say? I also am not a huge fan of this Shiva's God pickup on the Lifestealer. They could have tried to change it around, as you mentioned, maybe having the Lifestealer go for the AC, letting the Sven build up that the Chrysalis into Daedalus earlier. But I mean, I'm just not sure. I really do feel like Lifestealer can be strong in a team fight, especially as these heroes get bigger and bigger. Faceless Void is rocking 2k health. The Juggernaut is 2.4k health. Lifesteal is ideal against these types of heroes.
Take that as tribute.
And when he can manage to connect, same thing as Sven. And that's another reason why I really dislike the Shiva, because it doesn't ever make him feel like a threat in the fight. If he's hitting on your hero, it's like, oh, okay, my hero's getting slightly tickled here. If he was actually a problem, like, just as an example, say he went Deso and he starts chunking the supports, he starts chunking the Jug. Suddenly they're not only worrying about kiting the Sven, so then, say the Lifestealer just walks up, pops out of his Ancient Creep, pops open wounds, forces something to come out in, like, a Force Staff, an Astral Imprisonment, something like that, then Sven doesn't have to worry about that for a certain time, and he gets to connect. So there's a different logic in terms of, like, he's still definitely like a secondary core by all means, but could be doing a lot more for his team than buying Shivas, I think.
Agreed. Now, the Juggernaut has a bunch of gold left, has buyback, has the Scotty. They're smoked looking for something. They may just run into the Zeus. This will be a decent pickoff, but he blinks away into the jungle off to the left. And Kezu, not wanting to use the blind Chronosphere, this gank attempt by Cookiss, not looking like they'll find anything at all.
Fortunately, they didn't quite lead with the OD who had Blink Hex. That's a very, very, very good dodge of the smoke gank from the Zeus. Because that would have given them 100% free Roshan. Now it's still up for contention. Looks
Now,
like they're going to go for it anyway, but there's definitely, yeah, AA scouts it out. They'll probably just back off.
Juggernaut!
Are they going to kill the Lifestealer, I think?
he does
He is-
have TP away, but of course there is a Chronosphere. So you're right, it looks like he's taking them on a merry chase. They're actually going to Chronosphere him now. Lifestealer may have a moment to rage TP out after he pops out. Let's see what he can do. He's piggied up and there does not look to be an opportunity. Even with that mischance, he goes down. They are working on the Roshan themselves now for the lineup of the PqMz. I think they know about it on Cookiss. It's going down too
The
fast.
relevance of
They're
your
gonna
Lifestealer,
they're gonna go for the Omni Slash in the pit most likely. Oh, they just get it on the AA, but again, you know, this is a huge AA. They do get the Aegis on the Sven, and Pablo Gaming in a lot of trouble. Did he? No, he's trying to get the cheese. He's gonna be able to use the cheese, and now Sven, they just have to kite him around. But Kezu even taking damage up on the high ground. Oh gosh, this Sven is scary. They're finally gonna bring him down, and they should have him a second time there. This team fight has gone right for Cookiss. There's a spin by Flens on the high ground, just trying to. Oh no, he's not on the high ground. Sorry, missaw. He's just trying to help out, and actually, the Venge, Kezu, gonna dodge the Howl.
be able to get away with the gem here.
Okay, I mean, it's stopping her from going, oh no, she is gonna TP out.
Rep.
It's a very short cooldown, though, the Chronosphere, so I understand using
Oh.
it now. What?
Stole his helm as well, so that's Haley Network from the Sven in the dumpster.
Oh. Well played.
And that Roche fight was a mess, honestly.
It was a bit all over
Wait,
the
the-
place, yes.
The Venge swapping in the Witch Doctor, who then Ghost Sceptered, picked up the cheese because no one else was there. It was just a clusterfuck of things, honestly, and I really don't think it should have been that bad. I was just about to say, like, the extent of your Lifestealer's usefulness is tanking a Chrono. That's pretty bloody good, considering how useless he heals.
Oh, Eskill jumps in to try to do something, but immediately takes a lot of damage from the Zeus. They've now piggied up the Venge, already used her swap. There's going to be an AA blast, does hit on some of these BKB heroes, just Eskill by the looks of thing in the Chronosphere. It is back up. There wasn't the Witch Doctor ult in range, but they're going to catch one. Can they catch two? If they can also kill off the Zeus and the Lifestealer here, they might be able to get themselves a lane of racks, but there it is. The Shiva's finally coming out. Steph style, taking so much damage from the Lifestealer, and they do get the Witch Doctor out, so no real objectives achieved there for the lineup of Cookies. Oh, Flen still on the chase. He should be able to just spin away and get out here. There is a blink up on Sven, but Flens manages to juke him. Although, Kezu, again, in a bit of a spot. He
They
actually...
want to man up on this.
Oh, he's farming again. Okay.
Yeah, they've got the hill ward here, so when things like this happen and they split up, they can
Okay.
just get a free pick off.
And they're going in on the Lifestealer, but here comes the Sven. He gets the stun out. He's doing so much damage. The Omni Slash comes out, but again, with that Warcry active, the Omni Slash barely tickles him. We're going to be seeing Flens again have to run away. The Chronosphere comes out, and Flens actually could come and tickle the Lifestealer, but chooses not to. Throws out the Healing Ward. Gem has popped out of him. Again, Kezu managing to jump away. There is going to be a BKB on the Sven. Flens, can he win this fight? Just barely.
Nice use of the vision, and they just completely outplay them there.
Yeah, and if they catch the oh, okay, that was an interesting play, and now the Venge gonna be going down with the maybe not the one unit TP. Okay, the AA blast will kill. Oh, Pablo BKBs, so Pablo may survive this AA blast.
Got double gem, definitely worth. They have a lot of money as well now, so as soon as they go back to base, spend it.
Oh,
never
Zeus
mind.
noticed them all.
Yeah. They need the chicken to come do some retrieval work for those gems.
Yeah, that's
It
not
looks
something
like
we
it's
see every
doing.
day. Two gems lying on the ground next to each other.
Yep, they are now a pair, and they're about to be split up.
Okay, they. Oh wow, they're both the Vengers. I know Steph Style had a gem some point I thought he had purchased one. Never mind, that was last game. Oh well. Yeah, so a good win there for Cookiss. They are still down a racks, but now they're got a good net worth lead.
This is just them scaling better into the game though. Like, the 19k net worth on the AA, we half about it and say it's really impressive, but that Hex has amounted to 1 or 2 pickoffs that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. I would much rather see 6,000 net worth on this Life Stealer. The Shiva turned into an Abyssal and him having an AC. That would make this game, like, much more manageable.
I agree, but I think, speaking of Life Stealer, he is getting a lot of damage taken. One more auto attack, but Flen's looking to be the price. They do Astral imprison him. They have to do something about this Sven. There's just nothing they can do, and one more auto attack will bring him down. Steph Style gonna fall here as well. There is a Stormhammer up in 2. Doesn't even need it. 1400 damage crit coming out of that Sven.
This gives them a window, actually. There's no Sven ult BKB cooldown, but 80 seconds on Jug is probably enough to make him want to buy back to save the racks.
Yeah, and even though Cookies, they just won the last team fight, they got themselves a bit of a lead. 1, the game's very even, and 2, they just can't get objectives, it feels like. Wow. Okay.
That was very early left.
Yeah, it also felt like they fought it after the Sven had backed off. There's going to be a jump forwards by Kezu. He was trying to bait out something. He manages to go on the AA. They should be able to get this kill. The death board is bouncing among a lot of them. Still bouncing somewhat. Is it working in on the AA? The Ice Blast does fly out. It hits Kezu, and now he might take way too much damage. He's probably going to shatter there. They're going in on the Zeus still. Omni Slash does manage to bounce mostly to him, but then bounces back to the creep wave. Odie has finished up the kill. And again, they have saved their melee racks. Oh, except from Cordy. And Cordy is going to take the racks. No, Cordy. Oh. Rack surviving at 30 health.
Yeah, that was a little too close. Jug did buy out there, right? Yeah. So that's a 6-minute window where if they kill him, they can maybe turn this game. But with how this Void is itemized and how much damage he deals on top of OD is really coming into his prime now. Not got the best item progression, but as soon as he gets his next item, you're really going to feel the hurt. Sells his Midas or Drum, either is fine, and Refresher, Shiva, both good. I would personally favor Refresher because it's flashier and the double BKB is very good against Zeus.
I personally think... Do you think the game would be different if... Oh, never mind. Never mind what I was going to say. Witch Doctor has a Ghost Scepter up finally, is very rich again. A lot of these supports... Part of this is it's a 50-minute game, but a lot of these supports very rich on the lineup on both lineups.
He should buy Nathan's. Kind of strapped for inventory slots at the moment, so he might opt for something bigger or just bots, but... Lens is very, very good at this stage where you don't want to be close enough to the Venge to get swapped. It is a very long range, so anything else helps. And maybe I'm overstating it a bit because I haven't actually played with it, but it feels like every time I see it, it's so strong.
It is very strong, and I think it also helps you with the Chronosphere and enables the Venge to... Not the Venge, the Witch Doctor to play from further away. I do think, as you mentioned, it could be a case of the inventory slots, right? You're worried about itemizing correctly, you're approaching the late game, and it is going to be a 10-minute Roshan respawn timer.
Again, I think favors the Dire, just because backing the game out even more gives Odin more time to get his refresher and have buyback money, which is exactly what he's trying to do.
Well, that would be a tribute.
I don't know, Void still has another item slot on top of his Midas. He can upgrade his Diffusal. So that they've got a lot that they can scale in the next 5 minutes, and they're all fairly close to certain things.
Kazu is gonna... Oh, they know exactly where he is. He Chronospheres, but does not get the TP out, and Kazu is gonna pop.
So, again, he's picked off by like 4 heroes. pushing really aggressively. Nice pick for them. Obviously, it doesn't hurt, but it's not going into anything unless they can go down mid and realize they'll probably think he has buyback, but we can see that he doesn't. They're not going to get Roche in the time, fortunately for them. They're not going to know that.
I mean, this game is.
If they just like went down mid now, that's actually their best chance. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I did not think about that for a second. They have like Hex on Zeus. If they can get another pick off, like the Jug's not easy because his entire team's backing him up, and they're respecting the fact he actually would have a buyback. Probably trying to play around Roche.
As you said, all of this is us having full map vision, right? We also know exactly what's going on with cooldowns. I don't think they would feel comfortable on the puck because both teams right now, we're at that stage in the game where anybody makes a mistake, you lose a Rax, maybe even two, right? The Jug is huge, the Faceless Void is starting to actually hit like a truck. The OD.
Yeah, it's so risky going in. If he does buyback and they blink Chronos like 3 of you and you lose the game because of it. Fortunately, they would have been able to maybe get a lot from that, but they do end up getting the Roche, which is enough collateral for that kill, honestly. Don't think they've got it without it. Now they'll feel like pretty confident trying to go for a fight, I think, because Sven having the second life. Oh, I kind of wish he had cheese though. Aegis on Sven is so shit. You want to fight around the duration of your ult, which is only 25 seconds, admittedly, but it's still enough.
Yeah, I mean, it is... Oh, they forced the BKB out of Sven, but he may just rip through this OD. They Chronosphere him. OD's using his BKB as well. At least that means Zeus won't get him. Again, another Jug ult that hits mostly creeps, but OD has popped one Sanity's Eclipse, has actually already used them both, and now it's looking like the Lifestealer has joined the fray. Kezu getting very low, and I'm not sure if Flems can fight this Sven. He does get Ice Blasted as well, meaning there's going to be no regeneration. He's turned into a piggy, and Steph Style coming in to help, but what does a Chen do at this stage in the game? 55 minutes in, you just die.
No, he just TPs out in their face.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing that all game, but there's not much to do.
And if they kept track of the timer, they'll know Jug doesn't have buyback. Not something that's easy to keep in mind, but, you know, write it down or copy paste it. The timer. And if they know that, they could probably have just tried to end the game. No refresher up on OD is like huge window for them. Even without the Zeus, I think they could have maybe gone for it. Or he could have just YOLO bought back and gone.
I think
they're
there's
doing
still...
the much safer play, not having kept... I'm pretty sure if they kept track of the buyback, they'd have gone there. Because that's what I feel like is a fleeting window.
I think both teams still feel that if they make a mistake, I think they feel that they need more pickoffs than that, right? Even with taking buyback timers and so on, okay, we're gonna see they will be catching out the Venge here. It's not the biggest of picks, but it's something. And that does, I mean, the swap has been doing a lot of work here, so perhaps Cookiss can apply some pressure somewhere.
Yeah, that's 70 seconds where suddenly your Sven doesn't feel comfortable going into a fight because there's no save. Your cores don't want to push out lanes so much because they know there's no swap to worry about. Speaking of things to worry about, there is a Butterfly and Sven, so MKB is going to hopefully be Jug's next priority, even though man fighting the Sven is a bit of a nightmare for him. I think he still has to build for it, and Keza will probably also take it into account on the Void.
Okay. Did they... Does Chen have the Ags and then dominated the creep and sent it home? I'm confused. How did Lifestealer end up in their fountain?
Yeah, that would work. You dominate the creep and send it home. Doesn't... I'm not sure if you can re-control the creep or whatever it's called.
If you're already inside it.
But you can definitely infest out of it. But you should be able to, at least. Yeah, if it's not under your control, maybe you can't. I'm not 100% sure, but
Don't worry,
regardless,
I am pretty
that's a pretty
confused.
shitty way to die.
Yeah, this is like my, I wish they had a little bit better casting overlay and stuff for that type of thing, because already Lifestealer doesn't show up very well on the map, and especially this type of thing, when his creep is taking damage, there's no indication. So, looking around, trying to check out some stuff, and then suddenly I'm like, Lifestealer's in their fountain!
Of course.
That's a good pick, right? It's, again, it's Cookiss making some
I
stuff
think the
happen.
Venge is a bigger pick than the Lifestealer, honestly. That's... This hero just... not selling me on the late game at all. Like, the early game was fine, etc., but he sat on 5k gold. He was probably sat on like 6k before this. Well, okay, maybe not 6, but... yeah, probably about 6 actually, because it's 5.5 now. So, that's a lot of money that he could be spending on something relevant, like, okay, he goes Blink, so he's probably
They're
going to go Basher.
Going for the Zeus. He's going to probably fall here. The spin will get him, even through that Ghost Scepter. So again, another good pickoff for Cookiss, and they've gotten a couple of these now. Of course, when we look at buybacks, we're seeing a lot of them across the board.
Radiant's
And they've got the
top
creeps
tower
coming
is
in
under
bottom,
attack.
so they're just going to go hit top or buy back from Zeus. There is a Blink Abyss along Jug, so if anyone gets too close, it can be very easily punished.
Sven is also in their base. Okay, he does end up TPing home. And as you said, they work
Oh, no.
on the tower. Oh no, they have managed to catch him out with the Chronosphere.
Missing
Where's the
every
follow-up damage though? Now they've got the Abyssal on him. Again, the ult, the Juggernaut Omni Slash, it bounces to the creep and doesn't bounce back. Flens has the unluckiest bounces of all times. They still may be able to kill the Sven. Cooldown still locked by that time dilation, but he gets off the God Strength and he might just kill them both with the cleave. The backtrack comes out from Kezu. The Zeus has managed to murder off some other members of Cookie's lineup. They're still looking for the Sven. He is killing them all. He's finally turned into a piggy and brought down, but at the same time they lose the Witch Doctor. They lose the gem on the other side of the fight.
This is some tense fighting on the Sven, honestly.
Dyer's middle barracks
Like,
are under
one crit from God Strength Sven, suddenly, like, that's 2,000 damage.
Oh gosh, and they've
Big
turned
damage.
Eskil into a piggy. He's gonna go down just from the AA.
Dyer's
The blast hitting on him. Sven buys back, gets back into this fight, gonna take their racks. He doesn't have God Strength, so I'm not sure he can push for more. But unless Cookies... oh, they do expend buybacks. The ult comes out again, and Flen's right on the edge there. Where is the ult from Witch Doctor? It's on cooldown, so he can't use it there. He used it in the other engagement, but Sven, that's a dieback from him. And now, if they find a little bit more, the TP out from the Zeus, we are sitting at only buybacks on the AA and the Lifestealer, and Sven is dead for 110 seconds.
Of course, this 26k net worth AA has buyback with his 6-slot inventory.
Did you get rid of the forced off?
Fucking hell. Like, the Blink Hexer sets up the kill on the OD, forcing the buyback, but they just overclump for the chrono, and when the fights are like a bit more structured, Cookiss just come out on top because their cores are stronger. But this AA is being compared to the Witch Doctor, and he's definitely winning in that fact, but you have to compare like the Zeus and the Lifestealer and how much they're actually doing in these fights. And I will reiterate it again, this Lifestealer has 5,000 gold on him when they're trying to go pushes like that.
Yeah, the Lifestealer is not having, I think,
They
as
just
much
buy a
impact.
Basher,
Radiant's
So
buy a
they're...
Diffuse or like something to use your
Okay,
gold.
we have the team fight beginning. The A blast did open it up. Again, the Lifestealer taking a lot of damage, but at the same time, they've already got one very low in the Astral Imprisonment. Kezu is down. He did not get to drop the Chronosphere, and Cookies have to back out. But the swap brings Pablo Gaming back in. There's going to be no big Witch Doctor ult here. He is brought down even in his Ghost Scepter and Eskil. He bought back here. The Omni Slash comes out, this time actually hitting some enemy heroes. It brings down one, but now he has to spin away, going for that TP. He is still in a bit of trouble, but he manages to get out. These are not the heroes with the damage items. And on top, Creep's not attacking the right building, so the base is going to be fine for the Puck.
Yeah, they dodge a bullet there. Nice Sven buyout, they managed to hold. They don't lose too much for it either, like just the Venge and Venge, right, that died.
Mhm.
Now Lifestealer finally has his Basher. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes for the Abyssal. There's screw buyback. The Abyssal's just one more way to find a pick off they otherwise might not be able to.
Yeah. They
And
are...
it's another way to stop the spin TP, where Sheep can't.
Faceless Void does have a buyback. Witch Doctor does not, having used his already. The waves do need to be pushed out, so I think both of them can hold theirs, but the Puck posturing very nearby. We've got the Basher up on Kiro and the Blink. And of course Sven could come in at any time, just pops that gold strength. He's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing, just sitting very far back, making sure they don't get picked off. Really important at this stage of the game that you don't make these silly errors and you just disciplined. Right there, it's so easy to go and farm this creep wave, but the Jug is smart. He mantas, lets it push out with the creeps, and makes 100% sure no one dies. There's no stupid necessary deaths. Void gets a respawn. Wish Doctor comes up.
Like, look at this. Look at the scores across the board. This game, it has been a bloodbath. We have a 16-4 OD, and then, you know, Zeus has 11 kills. Witch Doctor has 10 kills. This Sven, I was expecting him to have more, but it's just been a bloodbath, and I really think it's still incredibly even.
At the end of the day, even though I would massively favor Cookiss as the game keep going on just based on their heroes, it all comes down to play.
Yeah.
The draft is like the least effective at this stage of the game, unless you specifically like drafted around them having like a 20-minute push strat and it gets to this stage. But even then, like, see these items coming out, like once Lifestealer gets his Abyssal after he saves buyback money, on top of that they have Blink Hex in 2 heroes now with Refresher on Zeus, so that's double Hex. And that just makes you able to win games regardless of your liner.
I think...
Flip it on its head as well, like OD can just win the game with like 1 big ulti or 2 big ultis, etc. They also have the same potential.
It does feel like it's going to be 1, really 2 big team fights. Because of all the buybacks, it has to be 2 big team fights, but there's no stopping this train, you know? If neither team blinks, or if what's been happening, the continual kind of solo pickoffs that each side is getting on each other, you still can't push. Even if they killed the Sven, I don't think Cookies have a good way to push. Even if they killed the Juggernaut, I don't think the Puck have a good way to push.
Now the game's slightly more open, I think, with the Void Refresher. This is just their way of saying, if you ever 5-on-5 us, we will win the fight. You'd hope.
Yeah. I really like that he's ditched the Diffusal too. I did feel that Kazu was trying to make kind of a fighting Void isn't the right word. He was trying to make the right-clicking Void a thing. And in this game, as you've mentioned, the overwhelming team fight potential coming out from both teams makes it really 1-2, because he got the blink quite late too. He didn't get the blink until after the Aghanims, this Faceless Void. So.
Yeah, he
really tried to push the limits of that Diffusal Manta combo.
I mean, it worked for a long time, but now it's not about if he hits for a few more mana per hit. It's about him hitting a Chrono. That is his only job this game. Push out waves, hit Chronos. And you hope OD will do the rest. Obviously, Jug helps out a lot as well, but it's slightly harder to coordinate a Chrono. Obviously, Omni Slash is always all good, but if you get caught in like the second Chrono off your Omni and then you don't have a BKB because you're a Juggernaut, suddenly game doesn't look so good for him.
Do you need to re-itemize on the Juggernaut at all? Obviously, he's still got this Battle Fury. Oh goodness, we have a swap coming out onto the OD. She Astral Prisons to avoid the Stormhammer. She's still in a horrible place, gets the blink away, and now they're doing a lot of damage on to Void's Bane. They've actually dropped the ult for this. Sven gonna take actually minimal damage because of Warcry, but they catch him in the Chronosphere. BKB is at 5 seconds, and the Omni Slash will finish him off. Again, the Lifestealer is in. What is Lifestealer doing in their base?
He got sent back after his creep got dominated.
Again?
Yep.
That's the second time we've seen that play. He does have to go buy a TP and get on out. Buybacks, there is none on the bench. Please buybacks, there we go. No buyback on the Venge, but one at the ready for the Sven. They also still have double sheep stick, as we've talked about. PqMz works to send his illusions in onto that top lane, it looks like. Gonna try to get some damage on the ranged racks, I'm guessing. Eskill takes an AA blast. And they do have big ults if they want them on Cookies, but they're gonna back on out.
This probably very tedious for both teams. Now, just dead or mistake, suddenly over. Want to play it as safe as possible. With Roche being up, it makes complete sense. The Devourer can still take an Aegis. Sure, the Shen can hold cheese, but whoever needs it as a quick refill.
The Devourer with 4k gold still holding onto this drums. And 68 minutes in, when I think the Devourer had no more drum charges at about 32 minutes, I believe was when like the last drum charge was used.
Hey, at least he doesn't have an AA stealing all of his farm, right? Speaking of the AA, there's a refresher on him as well now, so he sold his force. And he needs to stop hitting creeps. Like, he really needs to stop hitting creeps. This is getting to the point of ridiculous now. He has 4k gold. He can buy any gems, any smokes, any wards that's needed. So the Venge can maybe work towards another support item of her own. Start giving like the lifesteal and the Zeus a bit more farm.
How do you feel about replacing the Lincolns? I understand what the Lincolns is for, but I think a Lotus Orb maybe would have been a bit better. But how do you feel about replacing the Lincolns with something like the Octarine, so that you have even more uptime on that ult?
On AA?
Yeah. Just crazy, it's super late game ideas in the dock.
Personally, I think Lotus is just easier to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
But that requires him being there in the middle of the fight. He doesn't particularly want to be blinking in. Probably more on the Venge to save anyone that gets hexed. Hell, the Lifestealer could pick up a Lotus Orb instead of the Shivas and feel more useful. But I don't know. I would like to see a Lotus from him, but I don't think he should sell his Lincolns for it. I think it's just kind of at the stage where he's done. He'll get level 2 bots and
they managed to hex up the lifestealer. The swap comes out from the Venge, and now Sven going in again, tanks the entire Omni Slash, gets Abyssal up in the middle of it, but he's just beating through Flem's trying to stay alive. The Chen heal doing work at the 70-minute mark, and now PqMz taking a bit of damage, but it looks like they're on the back foot on the lineup of the Puck. Kiro going down. Can they catch the Zeus as well? Double ulti. It doesn't kill anybody. They're all incredibly low. AA Blast is going to shatter at least one of them. PqMz does have another Chronosphere at the ready. He just needs to be able to see them, and they have no vision around here. They are trying to smack away on S-Kill, and finally PqMz jumping in, seeing two. But no one's doing damage because he can't S-Kill on the edge of it. But they should be able to clean up both of these as the team fight winds down, and they have gotten 4. This is the biggest amount of kills we've had on one side in what feels like the last 10 minutes.
And they all have buyback, so now it's going to be a case of force as many as you can. They get free. I think they'll be quite happy with that. Hopefully they don't give anything up, but it looks like the Jug is mega dead.
Oh, as you say that, yeah, it's just looking like Jug. He manages to Monta the Ice Blast and the Radiance, though, finishing off the Faceless and the Jug, respectively.
Alright, so now it's going to go the other way. Sven is going to spawn in 30 seconds. They're going to force buyback from the Jug and the Void, and then the game's going to be at a stalemate again for 6 minutes because no one wants to die without buyback.
On the upside, we did expend 3 buybacks on the Puck. So, Cookies, if they can somehow hold with the OD, which I don't think they can, they might be able to save their buybacks and then be at an advantage here. Alternatively, the Puck, they're already up a Rex. You know, maybe they can get some more damage on top or bottom.
Yeah, they definitely just want to go right now. There's no way OD Witchstock Big Shan can hold. And the refresher's not quite up on Void yet. The refresher's definitely not up on OD either, so their team fight is like half.
A nice swap onto Step Style. There's going to be the buyback immediately. Steph Style is still alive inside. Okay, but then the Zeus ult comes out. Gem is on the deck. Pablo, I don't believe he has slots to pick this up. Could sacrifice his TP. They actually only bought back on one for that on the lineup of Cookiss. So they still have the buyback on Jug, and they're trying to hold this one for as long as they can. Steph Style, of course, has his too.
That's actually a pretty big win, managing to hold the Jug.
Yeah, and at this point they've got the Jug's buyback, so they will have Jug buyback and still have their melee racks. This melee racks, which went down to 33 health, back up to full.
And now it's probably just going to come down to whoever gets more control of the map and whoever makes a mistake. It's also going to be like which hero is in which place, right? Like if Jug dies, it's nowhere near as important as if OD dies.
There's been the catch out onto the Zeus. OD finishes him off, and Zeus doesn't have buyback. This is a dieback. This could be what they need to end the game, but they need creeps in position in their mid lane, pushing out as ever. Not in Cookies' favor.
This is a problem when you go for kills and no one's pushing out lanes. It's like you get one and then it's like, oh crap, we have to go back to our tier 3 positions and go push out lanes. Suddenly the Zeus that's dead for 2 minutes is now only dead for 60 seconds. But they've definitely got a window. I don't think they even have to worry too much about a base trade.
There are a lot of drawings going out on the map. They're pushing up in that top lane. The Sven
I think the Zeus is mad about how he died. He's
well, he could
stumbling
be.
on his corpse.
Sven has God Strength at the ready here. Also has his BKB. We're gonna see Steph Style coming on in. There is the Atos. Kezu could follow this up with the Time Walk. He's gonna pop it. Sven is still there, and OD has gone down in the mid lane. In other news, while we're watching this kill up top, they will catch out the Sven. Where is the damage follow-up? Steph Style coming in, but that is not who does it. Actually gets himself out of the Chronosphere. There is the ult, and finally, Juggernaut gets some RNG. So they take out Sven, who does have buyback, and OD, who also does have buyback.
Now the question is, do they know the Zeus has no buyback? On cooldown, so if they noted it and they're keeping track, they would, but it's 30 seconds, none of the lanes are in a great position, so it's going to be OD for Sven, 80 more seconds where nothing really important happens, because both teams will probably feel very cautious.
I mean, this is how it goes though, right? When you have a
Big game Dota.
When you have a Rax down not in your favor, you just sometimes can't do much against it. And we can see that. Oh, okay, the Abyssal comes out onto Kezu. He does, of course, have that Time Walk. Their spot comes out. He pops his BKB and should just be able to blink away. It was a 7-second BKB. He's got supports TPing in, but no, he leaves him in the Chronosphere, which means he's going to take the A Blast as well. They've just fed the Juggernaut away. We get a second Chronosphere coming up, but Jug, he's down. Will be forced to use that buyback most likely if they want to go in on this fight. And Vend, she's back in it. Another Zeus ulti comes out. They have taken out the Witch Doctor, and still nobody dead on the line of the Puck. We're seeing Kezu desperately trying to find something, but he is gone.
In my dreams.
Alright, boys, run down mid, Sven's up in 15. Just has bots, right? So
Yeah, everybody has
do they
bots.
hand him okay, there's no cheese to hand him, but it looks like he's just gonna keep on trucking with
He's gonna
his
buy the
steady
Moonshot,
regen.
and then oh, you mean Zeus?
Yeah, it's just that he
Zeus
had
is
like
fine,
low
I
health.
guess. Yeah. Okay, the Chen has brought back. They're gonna wait out the OD, but this fight is 3 on 5 because Sven will be TPing in. Well, he's already there, and he has taken the melee racks. Now headed up top to the racks they have exposed up there. Of course, has the God Strength since he's been dead for years. I don't know
They
how
should
Cookies
know
take
that
that
Void
fight.
has no buyback, though.
Oh, they're gonna BKB. That is one ult used. They do have a refresher. They immediately piggy again. And Sven, can they take him out? They do manage to. He does, of course, have buyback. He's gonna be coming back in most likely for the fight. No buyback on Void or Witch Doctor.
He has
Actually,
10 seconds on his bots, so next wave, go Throne, I think. Maybe Throne's a bit optimistic now, because by the time Sven gets Voids will be close and they'll probably just
Okay,
want
the
to go for
aggressive
the rat.
blink forwards coming out from the Ancient Apparition. The ult does go out from Juggernaut. Can he find someone? He does manage to kill off the AA, and now the spin keeping him magic immune from that Zeus. But they've come back with the Basher. They immediately hex up the Sven. This is their only hex target all the time, but there's no refresher this time. He jumps aggressively onto them. The BKBs fly out, and Kiro taking a bit of damage. The Juggernaut does manage to escape off to the sidelines, but maybe I spoke too soon. There's a Zeus ulti coming out, and they were pounding away on him. Zeus is incredibly low, though. A couple OD blasts will kill him off. This guy has no ult. Sven now as well. He has used his buyback, so if they find him off to the sidelines here, he's taking damage from the Maledict, but all the support's really enough to catch up to him. It doesn't look like it. And finally, we're at a state in the game with people dead, no buybacks.
Yep, and that's 5 heroes up on the Dire, so if they're keeping track, they'll check Roche. They'll probably just check it anyway because it's been quite a while. Then, could even use an Aegis. That is the question. Just for support, so maybe they don't even care about Roche and they just go down middle now and test the waters for buybacks.
Yeah, now the buybacks have come up. They weren't for a second there, but everybody... The time has cooled down, and this is... As you said, you test the waters for buyback. A lot of tier 3s are gone. They're gonna instead take Roshan while the AA isn't blasting them, but... I just don't... I mean, it... Even with these big team fights, the fact that all they lost was their melee racks in mid... Very impressive play from both sides. And I have to say, a huge... I mean, in both of these games, the Puck has been playing incredibly well for kind of a newer team that we haven't heard too much about.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for them to improve, but their standard stuff is not bad at all.
So, net worth, again, at this
Coined
point...
the phrase. Sorry, go on.
Oh, just net worth is very close. Yes, there's a 6k lead for Cookiss, but it doesn't matter at this point, honestly. As you've talked about a number of times, it just comes down to execution.
I think that's all late game Dodo really is. Have the biggest disadvantage in the world. You can be down mega creeps and you just out-execute your opponents who maybe get a bit cocky at one point, and it's hard to keep concentration for 80 minutes. I'm struggling when I just have to watch the game. Partly because I had no sleep, but
no, it's something where imagine trying to have all the right reactions, making sure that you're chaining your hexes just perfectly with your refresher and getting off your ult, you know, if you're the OD. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's silly things like your brain just stops working after a certain point because there's so many factors, and you see how black this map is, right?
Yeah.
This ward and this ward don't give you any lane vision. These two wards are basically irrelevant right now. So
Both
it's
sides.
it's all on reading the map and, you know, basically being the better player that will win you this game. And it's hard to
What is this ward?
do that for 80 minutes.
What happened here? I'm guessing someone tried to drop a sentry. But yeah, I mean, and you can tell that the game is taking its toll. We've got a number of weird wards, also double wards. People are trying to get stuff done quickly. Now we're going to be seeing them give it a go. Oh no, in comes the Zeus and the Sven. They can't lose Eskil here. He's taken a lot of damage. The AA Blast is going to does actually hit on Kezu just, but he gets a second Chronosphere up. Eskil turned into a piggy again. They're losing a lot of health, and Eskil is down, does have buyback, but in comes the Juggernaut. He's going for it. Omni Slash comes out. He murders those creeps, but also going to get himself the AA. The AA does have buyback, but having already used both Ice Blasts, it's looking like Cookiss might be able to take this fight. They're going in on the lifestealer, and he is brought down. Sven has no buyback.
Yeah, I think only OD board out there, so
Yes.
that's the Q. Go hit buildings.
Even if they
After
do,
they
I'm not
finally
sure they
push
can,
out
right?
this way.
There'll be a buyback on the AA, and at that point we'll have up the Ice Blast, not the double Ice Blast, but that can stop a push dead in its tracks, and they still have to work through all the time it's going to take to get down here. Probably at least 20 seconds.
Even if they were keeping track of the timers, it's probably like a complete clusterfuck at this stage. So My guess is they'll be like, okay, we're not 100% sure who has buyback. Sven probably doesn't have buyback because he bought back around a similar time as someone else, and we're gonna go see. But they have Aegis, they still have Cheese. Yeah, they still have Cheese. So they can, as I said earlier, just test for waters here. They're seeing the buybacks come out from the slightly more unimportant heroes.
Well, those are the only ones who have them. And now Eskill jumps in deep, gonna start pounding away on that. Zeus has popped the BKB. Zeus is not able to get away, and the ult comes out. The A blast will land, but it doesn't even bother them. There's gonna be a buyback on that Zeus. They can still get this tower. The AA blast, the refresher is not up. The Shivas does come out, but Lifestealer quickly losing health, hops into a catapult. They've also turned Faceless into a little bit of a piggy. He does have buyback, so he can take this, and then the Abyssal Blade comes out. They picked off the Venge. Kiro getting low. Zeus ult comes out, but it's just tickling them at this point. The heal comes out from the Chen as well. They're still chasing that Lifestealer. They really want to get him. They could be focusing on other objectives, but it's Lifestealer who they're going to take out. No buyback there. No buyback on the Sven. I mean, on the Venge. We might finally see something happen here.
Yeah, and Void and Witchshark both have buybacks, so if Void wants to just go in, tank several... He still has Aegis actually, so his buyback's like not quite as relevant, but this is where they just have to go. Like, you can't man down at this stage.
Yep, they're going in for it. The Rax gonna be taking some damage here, zapping onto those creeps. Come on, guys. They're just putting. They're so cautious, and I really think, as you said, that Cookiss could take it now. Finally, they've broken the base of the Puck, and we're gonna be seeing KheZu getting the other Rax. They can go to mid or top since both are exposed for them. And by now they know for sure. I mean, also they saw them buy out, but you have to know the Venge doesn't have one as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they're not just diving them and trying to throw it.
Cautious play, even against Megas, I think the Puck. Oh gosh, the Sven is back and hitting them with the God Strength. He has jumped in. The AA Blast will not end up hitting that Juggernaut. So he is going to be just fine, and they caught the Sven in a Chronosphere. Here comes the OD, their damage dealer outside of it, and Pablo gets off the death board. It feels like it's been ages since we've seen that, but Sven is down for the count, buys back immediately. KheZu jumping in a little bit aggressively.
In. He's going for throne.
Oh, okay, well played there. We'll have a regular old base race on our hands. They are going to TP some home. Sven has gotten one tower down. He doesn't have the God Strength, since of course he used it in that fight, and now... He's gonna be fine. KheZu unable to... Oh, he sees him. He can just jump forwards. He gets him in the Chronosphere. How will Eskill get there in time? They're TPing in the AA, though, and now they're also TPing in the Juggernaut. AA... No, AA doesn't come in. The Zeus does, but that's a dieback on the Sven.
That was all in to the extent that you can go to. That should just... I don't know, actually. Like... Okay, they have these two ginormous waves coming in. There is Megas. But that's by no means game over. They're going to have to defend the base, so it's probably not going to be anything happening until Cookies feel like they're ready again. So that's how long? At least 2 minutes for the OD refresher, same for the Void. Void is also building into a damage item, I'd guess MKB.
I think when you know the Sven is down, you go for it. Surely.
Yeah, but it's just an unnecessary risk in their mind now. As much as I would like them to go, Megas secures the game pretty safely for them.
And we're back to game 1. Where they held out against Megas for about 10 minutes, I think it was.
I don't think this hold's going to be anywhere near as long, just because one hero missteps, OD, or Void, jumps in for the initiation. Hell, even Jug at night can just Omni you from fog with an Abyssal Blade on your face, and suddenly you're dead.
Okay, so they're just gonna
but at least they have Necro 3 in AA stash, or on the courier.
Okay, they get the catch onto the Lifestealer though. The stun does come out, the Lincoln's pops it, and he's gonna be away. Helpful 86-minute Glimmer Cape. And that may be all Cookiss feel is that they can do. Of course, they're gonna work. Oh no, they're jumping in. They get the Chronosphere onto the... Oh, the swap comes out though, so it's no longer on the Lifestealer. Lifestealer does jump back in. The Death Ward has stopped now. The Chen heal comes out, but he can't do anything. Lifestealer, he jumps into all of them. What was his impact? Sven is about to be back up in 7 seconds. Really all that they've lost on TPP. Oh, okay, they get the stun out onto PqMz. He is going to be turned into a piggy. There's
Photoshop
also
doing what?
no BKBs because they've been used. So they might want to wait for those BKB cooldowns. But they go again onto Kezu. Laura's been taking a lot of damage. This will be her dieback on that Venge. And they've lost a lot of
Llama's
Moonwells in their base.
Hex is up in 15 on the OD. Crystal is up on the Jug. Chrono is up in 10 off the Refresher.
There are no buybacks. I think this is it.
Yep. And if it isn't, I'll be damn fucking...
Lifestealer going
Press.
in. There's gonna be a Lotus Orb trying to help out their friend Juggernaut, but instead he's back out. He's using that Omni Slash, ripping right through their lines. OD ult helps as well. Refresher on that, and this is GG. Cookies managed to take it. 2 incredibly long games coming out from them, but they do seal the deal.
Yeah, that was very, very good game to watch, actually. Despite, you know, it pretty much just being back and forth for like 50 minutes. Okay, maybe not 50, but at least 30. Where it was like, okay, one hero dies, we're gonna go push into your base. Oh crap, we just threw the game, but we still have buybacks, and then you do the same to us. That was a roller coaster of a game.
Yeah, a really nice one coming out there. Either way, Cookies do manage to take it 2-0, and they will be the ones to continue to advance forwards in the BTS series Europe. So thank you all so much for watching. I'm Llama Down Under. I've been joined by PqMz. We'll be back, or we will not be back, because the next game is being covered by someone else. So we'll see you all later. Peace out, guys.